Hey guys, Razorblade Mango here, and today I want to briefly talk about a certain pet peeve of mine regarding the Xbox's library of exclusives. And this video was partly inspired by Sea of Thieves, which is the latest Rare game. Just got its beta last week, and I played a little bit of it. Didn't like it. It was rather disappointing that it just felt so lifeless and shallow to me that I quit after a couple hours and went into Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is a much more enjoyable experience if I do say so myself. But Sea of Thieves kind of represents one of my long gestating frustrations with gaming, in that I think Microsoft has a wealth of nostalgic IPs that it's just sitting on and hasn't used for almost 15 years now, more than 15 years now. And I'm talking about Rare, which, if you guys don't know who Rare are, you know the games. You know Banjo-Kazooie, you know Conker's Bad Fur Day, you know Perfect Dark Zero, you know Donkey Kong, you know all their games. Tons of stuff. Battletoads. Duh. And I feel like Microsoft, ever since purchasing them back in 2002, and having them develop games exclusively for, the 360 in the form of, Viva Pinata and cameo elements of power, and then recently with the Xbox One with that fucking awful Kinect Sports Rivals game, and more recently Sea of Thieves, I feel like Microsoft is just blowing a serious opportunity here. An easy, super easy win for them, where they don't have to spend a ton of money, and yet they'll rake in so much golden cash and good customer PR, good nostalgic PR, and they've just been sitting on it for the last few years. To put a long story short, I think Microsoft has really fucked up their acquisition of Rare. And that's not to say Sea of Thieves is going to be terrible when it comes out. That's not to say Sea of Thieves won't find a loyal audience. It's just, I think what Microsoft is making Rare do nowadays is so against what they should and could be doing, in my opinion. Because, look, Microsoft, let me talk to you directly here. You have so many IPs at your disposal that you could use, and you did use. You made a new Perfect Dark game. You made a cameo elements of power. You put Rash from Battletoads into your Killer Instinct game. You put Conker into that fucking Project Spark game. So, and you made that Rare Replay, which was awesome. You clearly know that you have some seriously heavy-hitting properties on your hands. My advice to you, and the point that I want to stress with this video, is use them. For the love of God, you have Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Perfect Dark, Battletoads, a bunch of other stuff in Rare Replay that I can't think of off the top of my head. But the big ones, Banjo-Kazooie and Conker, just those two. You have every opportunity to make new entries in those series, and yet you fail to realize that potential year after year after year after year. Ever since you bought Rare in 2002, we had one shitty Banjo-Kazooie game. We had one inferior remake of Conker's Bad Fur Day, which was Live and Reloaded, and that's it. Nothing to show for it. Just the lasting impression of meh these last 15 years. And now, I think, ever since that story of last week of Polygon coming out and being like, well, Microsoft's looking at acquiring EA and PUBG Core and all these other guys and Valve. And it's like, my response to that is, you don't have to. You've got the IP. You have more than Halo and Gears of War and Forza and Fable, and you've got more. You've got more than your signature IPs. You've got the Rare IPs. And keep in mind, I did not grow up with Rare. I didn't really get into Rare games until I was like in high school, maybe? Even after that? And this has just been frustrating me for a long time, ever since I got into like Banjo-Kazooie and Conker's Bad Fur Day, is that you have these cool games that are still cool even after all these years, and yet you haven't made any fucking effort to modernize them. And I'm not talking about fucking live elements. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about games as a service. Don't do that. Don't do that, because I know that's what modernization means now with big AAA companies. Don't do that. Don't turn into Banjo-Kazooie with microtransactions. Don't fucking do it, Microsoft. What I'm saying is, what they need to do is come out and make a new Banjo-Kazooie, a true return to form. Not nuts and bolts, not Banjo-Tooie. Make one that is like Banjo-Kazooie. Have that be one of the big selling points. Keep it off PC, put it exclusively on the Xbox One, and you will sell consoles. You may not sell every single console that you can produce, but you will sell more consoles than you are already making. People love Banjo-Kazooie. People love Rare to this very day. When people hear the word Rare, they get flutterings of nostalgia in their hearts. You can capitalize on that without being a dick. You can make new games in these series. How funny would it be to have Conker back again? How cool would it be to have a Battletoads game, a new Battletoads game that's modernized and not stupid, impossibly hard? One that's actually fun. How awesome would that be? And yeah, I know there have been rumors about them bringing back a new Perfect Dark, but the big Rare IPs, Banjo, Conker, they own these. That's the frustrating part after all this time. They don't have to go out to Square Enix or EA or Ubisoft and beg these companies to let them use their IP. No, they've got the IP. They've got it. This is like Sony sitting on God of War and not using it. This is like Sony sitting on Uncharted and not using it. But guess what, Microsoft? Sony is using their IPs. They're bringing back Medieval. They're bringing back Crash, even though they had to go through Activision to do that. But they're trying. They're doing stuff. Nintendo is doing stuff. Nintendo is finally doing a new Metroid Prime. They're bringing a Pokemon game to the Switch. They're trying. They're doing stuff. What are you doing besides Halo, Fable, Crackdown, Gear? What are you doing? What are you doing? And even then, I know you haven't confirmed a new Fable game, but I totally believe that Turn 10 is doing Fable now. I completely believe it, or whichever studio it is that does Forza. I think it's a different studio, not Turn 10. Turn 10 is regular Forza. I think it's the Forza Horizon guys that are doing Fable, the new one. That's supposed to be like a big single-player RPG, which is good. That's a good start. That's a good step in the right direction for Microsoft. But you guys need to bring back Rare. Give them the studios that aren't necessarily Rare. I'm not saying make Rare pull all the stops and do Banjo-Kazooie, a new Banjo-Kazooie and Conker. You don't have to give it to them. You can make new studios, smaller studios, have them make these games and charge like $30 to $40 for them. Bam! You got exclusives. You got stuff. That's like the old games that people love. What are you doing, Microsoft? Why are you making Rare do... Why are you letting Rare do Kinect Sports Rivals and Sea of Thieves? Just games that are not Rare. It's not. Stop having them do Kinect games. Stop having them make these live elements games as a service games. This is not the game you need right now. You don't need Sea of Thieves. You need a Horizon Zero Dawn. You need something. You need something with a spark of ingenuity. You need something with magic. Sea of Thieves doesn't have magic. These Kinect games that you made Rare do are not magical. You know what the last cool thing Rare ever did? Viva Pinata. How about you just have them do another Viva Pinata game? You have that IP again. You have it. Have them do it. Stop putting Conquer into fucking Project Spark. Stop putting Rash into Killer Instinct. Stop treating your Rare IPs as cameos. Stop. Make them stars of the show. Stars of their own shows. It's time. Do it. Please. For the love of God, Microsoft. This isn't rocket science. You have Rare. You have them. Use them. Please. Fuck. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about how Microsoft should use Rare. They need to use Rare. Please. We need a new Banjo-Kazooie game. Please. After Ukulele, after the fucking horrible disappointment that was, now's the time, Microsoft. Exactly like what Capcom's doing with Mega Man 11. Bam. You need to come out Banjo-Kazooie 4. Conquer 2. And you can. You absolutely can, Microsoft.